Gay. Gay. How do you like my...
Dude, I can't believe it. Crowder's a propaganda machine, bro. Labels his title is, who cares? Your kids are the experiment. Wait, what? This isn't even the right video. Oh. Wait, what? This has a different title here. Oh, it's because it's posted. They changed the title. This is the title when he went live. Is Putin the new Trump? Blah blah blah. Bunch of other shit. So like, here's his title. No timestamps on anything. 1 whole hour.
Administer a sniff test. I've always said this. For example, if you look at sports, someone can maybe look like they're not on steroids and be on steroids, but if someone looks like they're on steroids, they're probably on steroids.
Yeah.
Right. So that's the eyeball test. Chael Sonnen, a friend of mine, talks about that. It's very rare that you think someone is on steroids and they're not. It's very rare if someone says something that appears to be nonsensical and it actually makes sense. Because she wants you to believe that the government's record spending, the government's record printing,
Right, yeah.
which historically has had a direct effect on inflation.
I think Trump spent more money than like any other president of all time. So if we're talking about anyone who's printing money, it's Trump. But okay.
Inflation, always. She wants you to believe that government spending will not increase the debt and is actually helping the economy, and also the economy is bad because, of course, Putin.
So when we're having this discussion, it's important to dispel some of those who say, well, it's the government spending. No, it isn't. The government spending is doing the exact reverse, reducing the national debt. It is not inflationary. A. B, we don't want to reduce the increase in jobs, which we're very proud of. This president breaking records, historic numbers of jobs created in the first year of his term in office, and
Watch, they'll say some retard will just in the background say, Trump did more. It's coming.
Wrong.
Of the American Recovery Act. But yeah, we're paying very close attention to it. But this starts with Putin because of global inflation for reasons beyond gas price. Global inflation is something that we have to deal with globally, but we have our responsibility.
She's selling it. It just makes common sense.
First,
Okay, let's break this down really quick. First, what is causing inflation? Well, could it be a domestic issue? Well, maybe, but if it's a domestic issue, why is every other nation dealing with the same problems? Okay, well, maybe every single other nation did the same things the United States did during the pandemic. Print a lot of money to keep people home. Okay, let's look at nations dealing with inflation and see what they did during the pandemic. We have America and Canada, similar things, so maybe similar inflation. Okay. We have, we'll include like fucking UK, but anyway. We have Switzerland. Basically just didn't give a single fuck about the pandemic the whole time. Guess what? They're facing similar inflation problems. Russia, facing currently catastrophic inflation problems, but similar inflation problems prior to that. China, same thing, besides there are other problems that they have that might collapse their fucking whole entire system. So, is it domestic reasons that are causing inflation? Maybe, but probably not. What is increasing the gas prices? Well, gas is a global commodity, and it's the price of gas is changed based on the value of the global resource. I wish there's a better way to kind of explain that without using the word global 6 times. But gas is a resource that is traded globally. Same thing with gold. Gold in one country isn't cheaper than gold in another country. The same way aluminum from one country is cheaper than aluminum from another country. Why? Well, because gold is traded globally. Oil is traded globally. They're marketed globally. some products are different from depending on where they come from, and some products aren't. Steel is another example. Steel is more expensive in the United States and in Canada and in England and in Japan and is a lot more expensive than in China. But one of the reasons why it's cheaper in China is because it's made with I don't want to say like poor quality, because it's not really poor quality. It's it is lower quality because it's on purposely lower quality so that it's cheaper. That's the point. There's a better word that I'm looking for. To a different spec, if you want to call it that. To a different tolerance, if you want to call it that. A million things. There's a reason why steel is cheaper from China, and it's not because like the steel they grab out of the ground is worse. No, it's because when they refine it, they make it to they have lower tolerances. Because that's how you sell it cheaper. Anyways. So that's why gas prices go up and down depending on what's going on globally. So Russia, not a very minor exporter to North America, but we're still dealing with gas prices. Why? Well, because gas is a global commodity. Something that's happening across the world will affect us. The reason for that is that one, our infrastructure in North America isn't capable of fueling the massive hole that is left open in Europe because of Russia. So it's going to be really expensive to move that gas over there in the first place. So even if we could move gas over, actually, well, no, that would factor into the price. So even if we did just start like, oh yeah, turn off the tap, we can't do this anyways because this is not feasibly fucking possible. But even if, I don't know why I'm bringing it up, because it would play into the price. That's part of it as to why it plays into the price, because we can't just go snap our fingers and start shipping fucking oil to Europe. So let's say if using whatever means we can, we just started piling fucking barrels on boats and sending them across the ocean. If we just started doing that, we're gonna take 100% care of you, like based like 100% of your oil and gas needs. Canada's gonna fucking load up helium balloons and just fucking send them over to you. Okay, whatever. Anyways. Well, not helium balloons. Load up balloons with I don't know whatever natural gas is. Whatever. Ethane? I don't know. I don't care. Natural gas. Canada's gonna start loading trucks full of natural gas, shipping them on boats, just sending it to Europe. That would inflate the cost of everything even more, because now the already established supply lines in North America between Canada and the United States is now being diverted to supply all of Europe. So now we have a supply problem in North America. So that would shoot up prices even more, because now we're splitting off. We're automatically cutting off everything Russia's doing and just splitting everything off. So we can't just do that. When idiot Republicans bring up like, oh, will Keystone Pipeline be brought back? Keystone Pipeline won't help us. Keystone Pipeline only got closed down in stage 4. Stage 4 is from Texas to Mexico. So it's not even that big of a deal that it got canceled. That's why it was dropped so fast for a blunder. That's why it wasn't brought up at all during Trudeau's second term. Why? Because it wasn't a big deal. Because we already have our section of the pipeline done. I'm pretty sure we can look this up. How much of Keystone XL is already built? So just a nice map. We'll get into Canada's oil in a second. Oh! Here it is. So the major project that was supposed to happen, which got canceled, was this. And then there's another section of the project that might have happened over here, I think, if I'm remembering correctly. Anyways, this is what like everyone complains about, is that this got canceled. Well, why does this matter? Well, it's just a new route. Instead of going this way and this way, it's a new route going this way. But if this pipeline, I don't know if you guys know how fluid flows, but when this pipeline is fully maxed out and filled to the brim, pressure out here and pressure out here is the same because it's fluid. So it doesn't really matter where the fuck the pipeline is as long as there's oil in the pipeline. This shorter route doesn't make oil flow any quicker through the whole system. because it's a fluid. I don't know how to explain fluid dynamics to you. But anyways, this doesn't help really at all. It's a cleaner line. It's less pipe. There's less, like, the main thing that I think it saves on is that there's less pipe to maintain. That's the big thing. It doesn't add more oil to our system. Maybe it would increase Canadian imports to the United States by like 2 to 5%, which would be a lot. And it doesn't seem realistic that a pipeline would do that. But anyways, this is what's happening. It's going from Alberta to Oklahoma and Houston. And yeah, this is the existing pipeline. It's already there. Just a different, it's a diverging path. As what's her name for Biden's team? God damn it, Paskett. As she said, it's just a diverting path. So all the pipelines, the United States already gets 55% of its oil from us, from Canada. So that's how much is already built. So building this new thing wouldn't really solve that. What else is causing, like, what else could cause inflation of oil prices? Well, the oil sands that Canada has, which is where most of our oil is. We have some crude oil deposits in Alberta. That's, I think, what most of our oil is going to the United States, is just that oil we take out of the ground. We have a lot of oil sands. Canada has like the third or second most oil in the entire world, but about 80% of that, maybe 75%, I'm kind of pulling that number out of my ass. A large number of that oil is locked in oil sands. What is oil sands or tar sands? It's literally just sand, just like that's just saturated with oil, and you have to separate the sand from the oil. What is oil sands? Basically, in summary, oil sands is really expensive to get out of the ground. So to make oil sands worth it to mine or to extract, the price of a barrel of oil needs to be like already at a certain amount. So it might be more worth it right now because inflation is super high, so gas prices are already high, but it's not going to fix the cost because it's just going to be worth it. Canadian oil sands are the largest deposits of crude oil on the planet. The oil sands, or tar sands as they are sometimes inaccurately referred to, are a mixture of sand, water, clay, and a type of oil called bitumen. Thanks to innovation and technology, we can recover oil from the oil sands, providing energy security for the future. Oil sands are a mixture. This is from some of you. It's from a company. I don't care. Oil sands are a mixture of sand, water, and bitumen oil that is too heavy or thick to flow on its own. Bitumen is so thick that at room temperature it acts much like a cold molasses. For that reason, this resource is sometimes called tar sands, but that term is incorrect because bitumen, tar, asphalt are different compounds. Oil sands correctly identifies the end product derived from the bitumen crude oil. So it's just super thick oil that's locked in a bunch of sand and water. Alberta Oil Sands. Oil sands deposits are found around the world, including Venezuela, the United States, and Russia. But the Athabascan deposit at Alberta is the largest, most developed, and used, and the most technologically advanced production process. Commercial scale production from Alberta's oil sands started in 1967 when the Great Canadian Oil Sands, now Suncor Energy, started operation. So there's Fort McMurray. If nobody's from Canada, Fort McMurray is known because of this, because that's like the main oil sands reserve. That's where a lot of people go to live. Fort McMurray had a big fire, and blah blah blah. There's Edmonton, Calgary, Peace River, Cold Lake. Anyways, where are oil sands? Canadian oil sands are found in the three regions within Alberta, Saskatchewan, Alaska, Cold Lakes, and Peace River, which combine over an area of about 142,000 square kilometers. Blah blah blah. So the mining operation is larger than the city of Calgary. I don't care. The process. A variety of oil. I don't know if anyone gives a shit about this. Canada's oil sand sector's high-tech, knowledge-based industry. New technology and innovation are critical to developing the oil sands and improving environmental performance. Oil sands operators must adhere to stringent regulations, approval from numerous regulatory agencies, and require at every phase, from construction and operation to shutdown and reclamation. Companies within Canada's oil sand industry collaborate to jointly develop technologies that reduce impact on air, land, and water, and provide benefits to our country and industry, as also committed to providing a safe workplace for employees. Blah, blah, blah. MacBook. Okay, I don't really give a shit about the rest. I don't really give a shit about. Anyways, oil sands are extremely hard to get out of the ground, extremely dirty to get out of the ground, and for that reason are extremely expensive to get out of the ground. I say extremely expensive. Obviously, it's not inordinately expensive because we do use them. But regardless, to be able to fully whenever you expand, you can't just infinitely expand. Oil sands, you have to do it in correlation to the price of oil. Because if you expand too much, if we take out too much out of the ground, the price of oil will drop humongously, and this won't be worth it at all, and you'll just you'll just go bankrupt. Because you'll be selling barrels of oil at cheaper than you extracted them from, and you'll just go bankrupt. So, that's a problem. Some leftists will say that you solve that by nationalizing it. Which wouldn't solve the climate problem, but whatever. Wouldn't even really solve the cost problem either, but whatever. It might solve the domestic problem, but that's not really a problem in North America. But anyways, well, it wouldn't be a problem for Canada, so it might solve the domestic problem. Canada doesn't have a domestic problem. Just, we're just dealing with the brunt of oil prices because we don't need to oversaturate the market with our own oil because the companies still need to run. Anyways, regardless, that is why some of the reasons why inflation is going up. What does Putin have to do with this? Because they're making a joke. They're like, oh, Putin. What does Putin have to do with this? Well, Putin is causing a fucking war to happen in Europe. What does that mean? Well, it means that Russia is being cut off from the rest of the world. What does Russia provide to the rest of the world? Well, Russia provides a fuck ton of energy and natural gas to the rest of Europe. So while Canada and the United States are completely okay with cutting off the imports from Russia, which isn't a small feat, but it's still not humongous, percentage of Russian oil to Northern America. Okay, I'll just do this. I don't find Canada's one. So, U.S. imports. Canada, big. Other, okay. Mexico, okay. Russia, 4th place, gone. Russia's imports, gone from the United States. That's, what, 300 million barrels of crude oil per year, I think, would probably be that. Wow, that's fucking crazy. What does Russia do? Well, Russia... I don't know what this means. Oh, okay. This is talking about this. What does Russia do? Well, Russia supplies fucking gas and oil to the Netherlands a lot. Big marker there. The rest of Europe provides a lot. Anyways, a lot. Almost all of Poland's comes from Russia, if not all of it. Good fraction of France's, Italy, Greece, Turkey. Anyways. That's a horrible graph. I hate that, but yeah. So North America, who the fuck cares? How much? To Canada. It was like last time I checked, it was like $800 million, which is a lot. How much of your country oil comes from Russia? We're not even on the fucking list. Canada, 2.3 million barrels per day. 2.3 million barrels per day. Wait, this isn't even telling me what I want. Which countries produce the most oil? Canada, 4th place. Russia, doubling our oil production. And Canada has a lot of oil. But we don't need to produce that much oil because we just give it, because anything we produce pretty much goes to the United States. And the United States produces a lot of their own oil. Or is this consumed? Not produce. Well, I wonder if this is, because I don't know if this counts for crude oil. And I just give a shit about crude oil because they produce a lot of oil because they get a lot of crude oil from us. Okay. How? I don't care anymore. Anyways, it's not a lot to North America and a lot to Europe. Hey, what else dumb shit are they going to say now?
Stuff. I wish, again, rules for thee, but not for me. You imagine dealing with your credit card company that way?
Right. Yeah.
Hey, we're calling from Diners Club. You've overspent. You're above your limit. I thought that if I spent more, the debt.
Okay, again, Steven Crowder is a fucking rich ass motherfucker, so he should know a lot about this. Countries and rich people, when they spend money, yeah, they're probably making money. Example, you are a rich ass motherfucker and your business makes you $1 million a year. Actually, it doesn't even need to be profit. Fuck it. You're a rich motherfucker and you have $0 in your bank account. Zero. None. Not a penny in your bank account. And you're like, hey, you know what? I want to buy another house. What do? Like, let's say you're not an entrepreneur. Fucking god, landlord, whatever. You have a lot of houses and rental properties. And you're like, hey, I got $0 in the bank account, but I want to go to the bank and I want to buy a new house. You know what you can do with your money? I think maybe you need a small cash down payment. But I think you can go to the bank and go, hey, bank, I would like to buy another property. Here's my collateral, all of my other properties. That's my collateral for this other house. Oh, wow. You're going to let me take this down payment on this house with the collateral being all of my other houses? Cool. Awesome. I just got a house for free, quote unquote. Now, you still have to make the mortgage payments, but you rent the house out, mortgage pays for itself, boom, bang, bum. What did you do? You spent money to make more money. Wow. What can a country do that's similar to that? Well, a country can spend money to open a bunch of jobs, which people will work, which they then tax those people. Wow, you just spent money to make more money. Huh. It turns out that, yes, you can spend money. And I like how Crowder brings up a credit card. The worst example of this, because a credit card company will, your interest rate is 30%, if not higher. So he brings up the worst possible example for this. He's like, imagine going to your credit card company and saying this. Crowder, you are a rich-ass motherfucker. You know how this works. You know that you can take a loan out against your own house. You can do this. Any homeowner can do this. Because my dad talked to the bank and they talked about this. If you own a home... Now, left is, I don't own a home. I don't care. You can figure out some other shit to do with the market. If you don't, like, with investing. Don't care. If you own a home, you can go to your bank if you've owned your home for a little while. If you're still not in the negative. If your house is in the positive, meaning that you can sell your house for more than the amount you owe. If you're in the negative, it's hard to do this because the bank is like, well, I don't know. If we sell the house, if you default, your house is not more than what you owe. So you probably can't do this until you're in the positive. If you're in the negative, you probably can't do this. But if your house is in the positive, if your house is worth more than the money you owe on the house, you can go to your bank and go, hey, I want $20,000. The bank can go, what for? You say, house renovations. They say, okay, what are you going to put this on? Well, I'm going to put it on the mortgage. So you can take out, you don't need to take out a second mortgage, but you can put $20,000 against your mortgage and take that out in cash. So that you can go pay a construction worker, fucking reno guy, to redo your house and increase the value of your house by X amount of dollars, probably more than the reno cost. So you didn't even spend $20,000. You asked the bank for $20,000 that you put against your own mortgage to increase the value of your house by $40,000, $50,000, $60,000, $100,000. Wow, you just spent money to make a fuck ton more money. Who knew?
I was under the impression that it went away.
And really, that sounds like a global problem that you need to deal with.
Is that why you bought a $90,000 Honda?
Well, dumb fuck other loser on the panel there. Global problems can't be dealt with domestically. If now Crowder probably begrudgingly believes in some forms of climate change, but when the well, actually, I'll bring up a different example. When the star in the sky, our sun, inevitably turns into a red giant and engulfs the Earth in a ball of fire, we can't solve that problem domestically. We can't even solve that problem globally. We can't even solve that problem solistically, okay? We're fucked when that happens. So, what can you do domestically to solve global problems? The answer is not much. Mostly because those global problems are caused by a global issue. What is the global issue? Well, a war in Europe. Are we participating in that war in Europe? No. Are we trying to stop that war in Europe? Yes. How are we doing that? Sanctions. What do sanctions do? Usually increase the cost of goods for consumers and make the economies of all countries involved a little bit worse off. The point of sanctions is that you put a stranglehold on whatever country you're targeting. Because usually, why NATO exists and why sanctions work now is because all of NATO can sanction a country and fuck that country's economy up. That's what's happening with Russia. Ruble, done. Ruble is less than a fucking penny. The ruble is worth nothing. Why? Because of a bajillion sanctions and Russia being effectively cut off from the rest of the world. It hasn't been 100% cut off because they send a lot of oil and a lot of energy to Europe. Why isn't Russia cutting themselves off, you might ask? Because they're so angry with the rest of the world. Because it makes them a fuck ton of money. Duh. Okay, moving on from that. So, global issues have global ramifications and global solutions. We can't solve the war in fucking Europe by just, I don't even know what the fuck he wants us to do, by lowering taxes or something, right? Like, that's not going to solve the problem in Europe. You're not going to just lower taxes in North America and boom, oh fuck. Suddenly, the gas prices have dropped. No, you can't just start extracting copious amounts of oil out of the ground and boom, oh, suddenly the gas prices are better. No. Now, there's a chance that can work short term, but no. Well, if it were possible to do, it could work in the short term. The problem is it's not possible. We can't just overnight increase our oil production 10 fucking fold. To be able to deal with the oil that we get from globally, or how we, like our entire oil market, to be able to solve the problem right now, we would have to increase our production like X, who the fuck knows, because we would have to supply all of Europe, which we have zero infrastructure to do. We would have to supply ourselves, which we have the infrastructure to do, but it's not enough to solely supply ourselves. So we have to somehow solely supply all of our own stuff, because I'm pretty sure Crowder's take would probably be that the United States should be oil independent. Right? So there's no chance. So at least he would probably concede that you would have to work cooperatively between Canada, United States, and maybe Mexico. Maybe he would agree to that. But you would have to... Oh, I just brought up a whole article that nobody saw. Anyways, I read a bunch of stuff. You didn't see the article because you're staring at my War Thunder game. But that's okay. I just realized that. Who cares? Anyways. Oh, that's why I had this tabbed out, though, because of the music. Okay. Anyways. What the fuck was I talking about? Oh, so to solve the issue, you would have to increase production for domestic use and global use. Somehow send that increased production globally, which we have no infrastructure for, and there are no fucking boats to do that. Most of them are still stuck out in the middle of the ocean because of the entire economic change we've already gone through. So you can't solve these problems overnight in the way that you want them to be solved. Most likely, we just have to wait out the storm. Things will get bad for a little while. Gas prices will increase, even though gas prices increasing really isn't that big of a deal. Because hot take, most of you fucking losers that are complaining about gas prices probably drive fucking SUVs and pickup trucks when you don't need to, okay? Buy a 2-door fucking Civic and nobody cares. I fill up my gas tank like once a month. Whatever. So, yeah, global issues require global solutions. We're not isolationist anymore.
Hyundai? Well, they're all $90,000 now because the economy's rip-roaring.
Steny Hoyer looked very good.
90,000.
Global problem that you need to deal with.
Is that why you bought a $90,000 Hyundai? Well, they're all $90,000 now because the economy's rip-roaring.
I don't understand the joke, and I don't even know car prices. I don't know if that's part of the joke or if he just doesn't understand the economy right now. Car prices haven't gone up. Why haven't car prices gone up? Because nobody's fucking buying cars because everyone's at home. Now, people are starting to go back to work now, right? So car prices might go up. Car prices have also gone up maybe a little bit because of chip problems for the computers inside the cars. So production for cars has lagged behind, but I think they've mostly recovered, mostly because people aren't complaining about the price of cars. Anyways, because you would hear people complaining about the price of cars really fast if the price of cars went up even a smidge, because it's fucking cars. Everyone needs the brand new fucking cars. Why do you think, like, there's a reason why brand new cars come out every single fucking year. It's because people buy this stupid shit every single fucking year. You don't need to buy the most brand new fucking car of all time. You can buy a used car. It's not a big deal. Anyways, yeah, so I don't know if he just doesn't understand, like, there's a reason why shirts aren't super expensive. There's a reason why shoes and haircuts and a bunch of services haven't gone up. It's because for the past 2 fucking years, our economy wasn't a service economy. This is the wrong term, I think. But maybe it's the right term. Anyways, I'm going to use it, and if it's incorrect, go fuck yourself. We weren't a service. Once things started going back to normal, we weren't a service economy. We were a product economy, or a consumer economy, or whatever you want to call it. Basically, people weren't going out getting haircuts, buying shoes and shirts and pants and whatnot. People weren't buying general stuff for your day-to-day. People were buying stuff off Amazon, like video games, graphic cards, food, blah, 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 whatever. People were buying food. People were buying shit to come home for, and people were getting that shit shipped to their house from all across the world. People were buying stuff that you needed to get shipped here instead of going out and getting services. People weren't going out to bars. People weren't going out to restaurants. People weren't going out to get food. People weren't going out to get clothes. People weren't going out to get haircuts. That's why none of that shit's prices have gone up. Truly bad inflation raises the price of fucking everything because your physical dollar is worth less money. The American dollar and Canadian dollar and any other dollar hasn't really fallen. The prices of goods have gone up. Why is that? Now, I'm not an econ major. Value of USD. Anyways. Now, I'm not a US... I'm going to go find this. But anyways, it's mostly unchanged. But, now, I'm not an econ major, but what does that mean? Well, it means that it's not like the world... It's not like in the Great Depression, where, like... Or, actually, I think, yeah, then the value of the US dollar during the Great Depression was, like, nothing. I don't even remember. I don't want to speak about this anymore, because I don't fucking know enough. Anyways, regardless, the biggest issue with inflation is certain parts of our industries. A lot of consumer stuff. So gas prices and shipping stuff to us, and that's about it. That kind of covers everything. Whatever you need shipped to you and your gas, because it's also shipped to us, technically. But anyways, that's what's going on per price now. You'll remember back when the whole fucking pandemic started, that gas prices actually hit all-time lows. Why? Because suddenly a fuck ton of people got off the road, and gas companies were like, oh shit, we have a fuck ton of gas, and it's more expensive right now to store the gas than to sell the gas. So we're going to sell this at a loss to get rid of it as fast as possible, because we can't afford to store it. We just need to cut our losses and dump all this oil and fire everyone and freeze everything is what the oil industry did. That's what happened, and then things started kicking up again. So companies are like, I don't think many companies fired people. They laid them off, delayed them, whatever happened during the pandemic. Maybe people did get fired. Well, obviously some people did get fired. Anyways, layoffs, retirement, blah, blah, blah. A bunch of things happen. Then the economy starts coming back up again, and people don't just, boom, I'm back at work, right? Hiring processes, everyone's on the road to get hired, stuff like that, blah, 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 blah. All those things start kicking back, and it turns out that we need it more now than ever because a fuck ton of people retired. So more people are on the road looking for jobs, and da-da-da-da-da-da, right? And now the price of gas is high. The price of gas was high before the fucking war in Europe, so of course it's going to get a little bit higher. But anyways, Steven Crowder doesn't give a shit about any of this stuff because he brought up credit cards in regards to investment payments and how rich people deal with money and how governments deal with money, even though he's fully aware of how that shit works because he definitely makes millions upon millions of dollars based off investments, and he knows how to run a business because he's one. Actually, wait, he probably actually knows nothing about that because his dad deals with it all. Oh, okay.
Steny Hoyer looked very confused.
Yes, very
Did you make you
confused.
stand back here?
I love her hand signals. She's all over the place with this. We don't want to.
All over hand signals, as if as if there wasn't some like orange buffoon that constantly made hand signals at all fucking times.
You can't mock the park. Jobs have been added. So, let me just fact check that really quickly. No new jobs have been added since the peak of 2009.
No new jobs have been added since the peak. I don't know if you're aware of this, Crowder. We went through a pandemic. What? I don't even remember her mentioning like what record she was talking. She just said record breaking, and she didn't mention like a specific record. She just said like record breaking because maybe like growth in jobs, which can be misleading, right? Because going from like because the jump on the anyways. Yes, numbers on graphs can be misleading, but you're coming at this from the wrong angle.
19. None. Not one. I know you're thinking maybe.
Here, actually, I'll show you the graph, and I'll show you what I'm talking about, because...
Stand back.
Mock the Parkinsons. That's a Parkinson's shake.
That's not.
Don't take a soda from her.
She Italian?
So, let me just fact check that really quickly. No new jobs have been added.
Okay. She didn't say anything about, like, passing the peak in 2019. But regardless, you're attacking this from the wrong side. You can attack the quote-unquote record numbers because stats like this can be misleading. Going from... So, Trump would be touting record job growth. Look at the record job growth because he went from here to here. That's like 2%, 3%, 4%, maybe 5% increase in jobs. Wow, pretty good. But going from here to here is like 300x, right? Or like 3,000% job increase. That's a misleading number, right? Because you haven't even recovered the original jobs. Yes, you've increased, but you increased from zero. Anything is better than nothing here, right? But that's not even what the fuck she brought up. So, and you're not even attacking it from that angle. You're saying no new jobs have been created. Okay, but this is still good news. You're not attacking it from the right angle.
2019. None. Not one. I know you're thinking maybe some. No. Now, before Putin invaded Ukraine, inflation hit a 40-year high of 7.5%, and that's not including the house.
Yeah, why? Because we went from doing nothing for 2 years to doing everything in 12 months. Okay, this is stupid now. I'm done. This is so dumb. He's literally going over everything I already said. All right. We already know everything he's about to say is fucking stupid, dumb propaganda. I don't know why he does this. Because, like, he'll bring up this stuff as a final addendum point, whatever, because I'm closing this video now. What he'll do is this stupid tactic where, sorry, there's, I don't know. Anyways, Well, they'll do this stupid he'll do this stupid tactic where he just brings up. Yeah, he'll just bring up like, oh look, you got this wrong. Oh yeah, but like you're missing the broader point entirely, which is like, inflation was at an all-time high. First, all-time high from when? Not that it super matters, but it's interesting. Maybe it said in the stupid articles he put up, but didn't link anywhere. He just grabs like random screenshots of like shit. And oh Jesus, he'll grab like random screenshots of shit and be like, look, you fact check, but he will never link the article. It's really hard to find like his fucking sources. But maybe it said it in there. But record highs from since when? And on top of that, why is that inflation happening? Well, you're missing the whole other context of the fact that we went from doing nothing for 2 years to doing everything. Of course, you're going to see big problems when you go from a stable economy for 100 plus years, for the most part, right? Since the last pandemic and Great Depression and stuff like that. So like 70, 80 plus years of a relatively stable economy to a grinding halt. Yeah, you're going to run into some problems when that kicks up again and tries to get back to the, like, you go from nothing, like you can't just, well, he did, the government paid people to stay home, but like companies are obviously going to lay people off during that time. You can't just have a company just paying people for no fucking reason, right? There's no way Steven Crowder would agree with that. He would agree with all the firing that happened, laying off, whatever. He probably disagrees with any of the Biden, like help that he gave to people during COVID. He would probably just, good enough, why don't you just keep your job, just keep working, blah, 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 ignoring the fact that jobs were naturally laying people off anyways because we weren't doing things because people were staying home. So that happened, and nothing you could do could stop that because a pandemic was going on. People were dying. People are naturally, regardless of the policy that you had in place, would stay home. We saw that. Trump was in office during the fucking pandemic, and all of the bad shit that you're now dealing with is still happening, right? For all this talk about, oh, Trump kept the economy open, oh, blah, 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 these problems still happened regardless of that. Why? Because it was a global problem and a global issue and has global ramifications. So with that in mind, yes, when you go from doing nothing to doing everything you were doing before, there's going to be a fucking whiplash somewhere in the market. And that whiplash is in the consumer product, order products, whatever you want to call them, not in the services industry. That's where we saw the hit. Your gas went up. Your gas went up. The food you order went up. Actually, food didn't even go up that much, did it? I don't think food went up that much. Some maybe imported food might have gone up a bit. But anyways, gas went up. Things you buy off Amazon went up. Why? Well, because a bunch of people were sitting home and ordering a bunch of shit to keep themselves busy. That's why that shit went up. Why did gas go up? Sorry, those are two separate things. Why did things on Amazon go up? Because people were sitting at home doing nothing, and they wanted to keep themselves busy, and they couldn't really go out and buy stuff, so they bought things off online. Why did gas go up? Well, gas went up because we did nothing. Gas was sold off as quickly as possible before, so gas industries had nothing in the reserves because there was no reason to have them in the reserves, and it was costing them way too much money. The solution to that, by the way, Crowder, is to either pay them off with government subsidies or seize them nationally. But Crowder would be against both of those options. I'm not even saying I'm for or against them. It's just that the obvious answer to those questions isn't solved by capitalism. We're dealing with how businesses operate, which is totally natural and totally normal. And this probably wouldn't even get solved through like actually seizing them or whatever. It's just that if every single nation controlled the price of oil or whatever, or just divvied it up as we needed it might work out a little bit better. Only specifically for oil, I don't even know. It doesn't really matter because I'm just bringing it up as a point to the solution that could be a solution. You would never, ever, ever, ever go for. And the thing that you like the most is the reason why it's bad right now. Because companies, naturally, sold off all their oil. They had no reserves. And then we were like, oh, let's go back to the normal economy we had before the pandemic. And the oil industry was like, oh, fuck, we can't deal with that right now. We don't have enough oil out of the ground. So we have a lag. It's totally natural. And then finally, again, I'll say this again, the sidebar to that is things like haircuts, restaurant prices, and a bajillion other things. Those didn't go up in price. Why? Because no one's doing that shit. Nobody's going out to get a haircut. Nobody was going out to the restaurants. Nobody was going out to get food. Nobody was doing those things. So those prices stayed the same, if not lowered. It's right in front of your eyes, dude. It's right there. It's right the fuck there. So, anyways, Crowder's a dumb fuck.